emphasize the scripture so often. Um, they shall lay hands, these signs shall follow them that believe. And it says they shall lay hands on the sick, they shall recover. They shall speak with tongues, they shall do this, that. And people designate who they think is supposed to do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he said they. These are the signs of a believer.
That's right. Exactly.
Of a believer.
Yes.
So if you believe,
That's right.
Amen.
you're the they.
You're the they.
Amen.
Thank you,
It doesn't
Jesus.
say you have to be
Ooh,
a
that's
deacon,
right.
an elder, a pastor, or a bishop. None of that stuff. They. My job is to teach and to bring people into their calling. Help them to see their calling and to bring them in and teach them how to access what God has for them. That's part of my job. Part of it. And I hope that we will have more testimonies like that. And we will. But I hope that it will be sooner than soon. Yeah, of people who are being used by God to defeat the plan of the enemy. Because the enemy desires to sift us all as wheat. But the scripture says, but I've prayed for you that your faith fail not. And sometimes our faith fails because we don't realize the power of God.
That's right.
I was reading a book this morning, a little pamphlet, and we've used this term before, but it just brought it back to my mind, that people say seeing is believing, but that's not it when it comes to God.
No.
Amen.
Believing is seeing.
That's right.
Believing. So if you can see, and that's what I was doing. I was picturing people and things and being in a certain way. I was picturing it, and I said, so I believe it because I can see it. I was telling somebody, I said, I can see it. I see it. I'm looking at it, But you can't see what I see, of course, but you can see what God shows you, and you can see what you're willing to see. If you're willing to see it, if you're willing to believe it, you can see it.
That fits the definition of faith.
If you're willing to believe it, they say, oh, well, God, he's not going to do this, or he's not. I mean, how do you know what God's going to do? You cannot predict what you're going to do.
No.
How are you going to predict what God's going to do?
That's true.
All right, let's turn to Zechariah.
Can I just say
7.
one thing?
Yeah.
God made it clear to me a long time ago that you can be called all kind of titles, but the thing that qualifies you to do what you're doing is one thing and one thing only, is that you're a believer. So an elder lays hands on somebody, they're not being, and they get healed, it's not being healed because they're an elder, they're being healed by what you
But they
just said,
believe.
because they're a believer.
Right. Yes, if you can see it,
Where'd you say we were going?
7th chapter of Zechariah. This is a small chapter, but we've got about 15 minutes here, and I just want to hone in on a couple of points that I saw when I was reading this morning. And I was thinking of what God had said to me about some things. But anyway, let's go. Now in the 4th year of King Darius, it came to pass that the word of the Lord came to Zechariah on the 4th day of the 9th month, the children, when the people sent Sherezer and Regem-Melech and his men to the house of God to pray before the Lord, and to ask the priests who were in the house of the Lord of hosts and the prophets, saying, should I weep in the 5th month and fast as I have done for so many years? Then the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, say to all the people of the land and to the priests, when you fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th months during those 70 years, did you really fast for me?
7, 5, 6 now.
For me? When you eat and when you drink, do you not eat and drink for yourselves? Should you not have obeyed the words which the Lord proclaimed through the former prophets when Jerusalem and the cities around it were inhabited and prosperous, and the south and the lowland were inhabited. Now, in other words, I have in my journal, and I was looking at it, I was having it in my journal, it was 10 years ago, I said, I almost have to be looking at it to remember, but the substance of what I said 75 years I've been, I was walking with the Lord. And so, and it was like I said, for what? Not like what have I received or what, but have I really accomplished or done, do I really know why I've done what I did? I fasted, if I fasted 7 days, if I fasted 10 days, do I know why I did it? And if I ate, do I know why I did that? That was kind of the substance of the question, I mean, I didn't write this, of course, I didn't say I wrote this in the journal 75 years ago, you understand? The journal, I just wrote it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but it was talking about my 75th year.
Mhm.
Okay. So, the Lord asked these people this question. They came to the king, and it said the 4th year king, that it came to pass. The word of the Lord came to the prophet Zechariah on the 4th year. And he was asked to pray to God and ask the priests in the house of God if they were to continue fasting as they had done, or eating or feasting as they had done, where they continued to do the same thing. Here's, I guess, the point we're getting at. Sometimes God changes horses in the middle of the stream.
Mhm.
You say, don't change the horse in the middle of the stream. Yeah, you can change the horse in the middle of the stream if God says so. Because he doesn't want you to just do stuff because it is a tradition. But he wants you to do it for a purpose. And so they wanted to know if it was necessary to continue this annual fast as they had observed during the Babylonian captivity. Well, now, if God has released you from your captivity, are you going to fast to
To get released.
get released?
No.
Are you going to still fast?
I mean, I would look at it as no, because
No,
it's accomplished.
it's accomplished. That's accomplished. So go on to the next thing. It doesn't mean that you won't ever fast again. That's not the point. But you're fasting for purposes. You're doing things for purpose. And then it was sort of a rhetorical question that was asked. He asked, did you really fast for me when you were fasting?
Mhm.
Or were you doing it to say, I fasted for 10 days or I fasted for 7 days? We had a fast when we were in Faith Tabernacle, and this was a straight through fast for 7 days. There was no water, no eating or anything for 7.
That's a chunk.
That's a challenge, and you got to be healthy to do it, for 7 days. But I remember on the 6th day, I had to drink water. I mean, at least I felt like I did. I had to drink water. And at the end of that day, I think I had some soup or something, So I didn't go 7 days total without food, but I went about 6, But my point is this. Why was I was doing it in obedience to the leader of the church? Because, that's what we were doing. Everybody that could was doing it. But here's what the Lord told me. He says, I didn't let you do that. I didn't let you go the whole 7 days. So here's the thought that he put in my head. So that you don't boast, I fasted 7 days without food.
Yeah, got it.
Because I didn't. I fasted